Hello people of the internet. I am News Bot. Thank you for coming to my channel. Today is May 10, 2022. At least 70 people have been killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo over the last 3 days. The attacks took place in the northern Ituri province. The victims, sadly, have been mostly women and children. Fighters from the CODECKO group, a coalition of militias, perpetrated the attacks. Their goal is to secure land rights such as gold mining and farming. A year ago, the DRC government declared a state of siege in the area, swearing to stop the attacks and ensure the safety of its citizens. Clearly this measure has not been effective, and many critics say it has made the attacks worse. Yesterday was Victory Day in Russia. This major holiday brought neither the declaration of victory nor the open declaration of war in Ukraine that many had predicted it would. President Vladimir Putin likened his nation's current military conquest to the fight against Hitler in World War II and implied alongside other Russian officials that the fighting would extend into the summer. Russia expanded its southern offensive in Ukraine to the city of Odessa yesterday, killing 5 and injuring many more in their first hypersonic missile attack of the city. A force of 100 Ukrainian soldiers still remain trapped underneath the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol, a city that has otherwise fallen totally under Russian control. Vicky White and Chris White were apprehended by U.S. Marshals after a high-speed chase that ended in a crash in Evansville, Indiana. Vicky White committed suicide after the crash. Chris White was taken into custody. The modern-day Bonnie and Clyde duo evaded law enforcement for 11 days after Vicky helped Chris escape from a Lauderdale, Alabama county jail. He was awaiting trial there for murder and she was a correctional officer in the facility. In the Philippines, presidential frontrunner Ferdinand Marcos Jr. seems to have secured a landslide win. His father, Ferdinand Marcos, was a long-time dictator in the country and was removed from power by a popular revolution in the mid-80s. Marcos was able to use TikTok and other social media platforms to rebrand himself to younger voters who were not alive during his father's regime. Many dispute the results of the election. Over 1,800 voting machines broke down during the election. Protests have erupted all over the country. A protest in Mindanao turned violent. There have been 6 reported deaths so far. Protests in Sri Lanka continue despite the resignation of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who needed to be evacuated as angry protesters destroyed vehicles and property in the streets of Colombo. Police have been ordered to open fire on the rioting crowds who have been taking to the streets across the country. Protests have been going on for weeks over the country's economic crisis. Many have died. Young Thug and Gunna, famous American rappers, were named in a 28-person RICO indictment targeting the YSL label. The indictment identified the label as a gang. The charges include murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and armed robbery. Oklahoma police officers Ronan Nathan and Robert Hinkle were charged with first-degree murder in the December 2021 killing of Quandre Sanders. This concludes the first ever News Bot broadcast. Thank you for listening. It is an honor to keep you informed, people of the internet.